Yeah, so I wake up this morning and I see a message, and it's Access Rattblood. Are you here, Rattblood?
Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood.
And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Access Rattblood, I see. All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about it.
And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
Are you here, Rattblood?
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Access Rattblood.
Most abundant and successful king hero that we are all sitting with at this very moment. Are you willing to accept that as a truth? That you are a worthy man and that your penis is okay?
All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now.
Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood.
Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood?
Who the fuck is Access Rattblood?
I'm Access fucking Rattblood, bitch.
All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about it.
I'm Access fucking Rattblood. Hello, friends and enemies of YouTube. This is the Axis. This is the second day of my new year, and with a new approach to things and a bit of a different perspective, endeavored into the new year and kind of felt things out, the temperature of the state of people, the socially engineered, those that have chosen to buy into the illusion of the system, which is governed by the great celestial clock, numbers, and potentials. I'm tired of hearing people talk about change, and they're reaching out and grasping at anything they can to be heard, to get their message across, to, I guess, they want to gather a people that will, I don't know how to even explain what the potential madness is behind reaching out to other people for your enlightenment or for your petty little angers that you seem to display when you can save yourself. You were created and put into this construct, and you will live your life alone, even though you interact with other entities, humans. Um, you are actually alone inside your own uh, biological machine. And your perception is what you choose, and you will be fed that type of information. So when you display your disgust or your petty contempt for things that are happening in this construct, you must remember you are just a visitor. You, yourself, alone, inside of yourself, your own head, your mind, your consciousness, whatever you want to call it, and this construct. And the best that you have is to go inside and learn. Learn how to develop a system within yourself of being able to maneuver, coincide, and exist within this construct, knowing that it is profound, vast, and potentials do have effect on individuals. But when you change that perspective and you envelop the system into your understanding and you have a rational, coherent grasp on the self, the you that is experiencing this, then you set the ground to displace the system, to take the construct and use it almost as a medium for creation. But the first thing you have to do is to go within, find that center point within yourself, and proceed forward. We have a wonderful guest. This is a pleasant surprise.
What's going on? Mic check, mic check.
Absolutely. Loud and
How you
clear.
doing? Good stuff, good stuff. Good afternoon from London. Good afternoon from London.
Absolutely. This is late evening for me, early morning for most.
hmm
And it's good to see you, London. Very good to see you. I haven't gotten any personal time with you for a while. So
hmm
how's the venture going?
Oh, it's going well, man. It's going well. It's going
Been
well.
keep been keeping up on your work. Pretty impressive. The the construct that I'm referring to is the system that developed this place and the consciousness that created it. And I know you work on the crater Earth and the moon projection. You care to explain it to me a little further so that I can kind of correlate that into maybe a little understanding where the metaphysics might apply, or even the fact that we are created. We didn't come from amoeba and just suddenly spring to consciousness. And we are an exotic species because we have imagination, which sets us apart. And London has stepped into the void and pulled information out that completely fascinates me. And I keep up on his work, and I refer his channel greatly. It's a wonderful place to visit. He's a wonderful host, great content there. and we're lucky to have his input. So, London,
Thank you, Access. Um,
absolutely.
oh, just to give people a quick synopsis of it. You know, I think, or where my work is leading me to, that we are living in the creator or the body of someone or something, right? And I think the ancients were trying to tell us this through some of the descriptions they left behind. And I feel like this is why, if there was ever a time where they was burning books and things like this, it was probably to keep us from that type of truth, you know,
I can see
about the
that.
body. Hmm.
Now, whenever they launched the Inquisition from the Church of Rome, and they started collecting all the information and knowledge that these early civilizations had when they plundered and pillaged them, and it was convert or die. And this comes
Mm.
from the original, the origins of the Roman Catholic Church. And apparently, people speak of a library at the Vatican that is vast. And I could see this because the Roman Catholic Church, when they came in and started the Inquisition, their intent was to dominate. It wasn't a shared knowledge and wisdom. These people were wanting to indoctrinate, control, and manipulate what the truth truly was. That I think our forefathers, and London has stumbled onto it, had complete knowledge of. What's your opinion on that?
I agree. I totally agree. And not only that, I believe trying to, if they was going to tell us anything, I believe they would have told us the location and where and what it is, right? And part of me feel like if they did do this stuff, they didn't finish the job. They didn't burn every single piece of evidence in existence, because we're still finding little clues here and there, right? We're still finding little clues. So that goes to show they didn't complete their job. Or maybe they wanted to leave some of the stuff out there just to see, you know, if anybody does catch on to their ideas.
I think once you start looking down a particular path
Hmm.
and you're seeking a truth that you venture out, that there will be, um, by the nature of things, evidence of that truth because it can't be truly hidden. And the fact that archaeologists seem to be um, interloped by the Smithsonian here in the United States, a lot of archaeology, a lot of information about our heritage and our history, and even Mesoamerica. Um, these museums seem to mysteriously lose lots of information and artifacts that I think can make a clear and evident point that our existence is not what we think it is. And I don't think that people understand you're just a tourist here. You know, this is a temporary state. And to understand yourself and to know yourself would be to know what you truly are and where you truly are. And that's why I appreciate London's endeavors. Have you come up with anything new lately?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I've just released part 11, and now I'm working on part 12 as we speak. As I'm sitting down here for 20 and coffee break with you, that's what I took a break from, writing my script on part 12 now. I'm getting that ready. More
That's
information.
awesome. That's awesome. I don't want you to spill any secrets here, no previews. I expect people to go to your channel. You can put your link out there, and whenever whenever this is through, I will definitely put it in the comment section.
Nice.
Yes, absolutely. Uh, I've also noticed that, we do kind of parody work towards some of the
Hmm.
characters that are out there on the social media platform.
Uh-huh.
And I just got through my new year, which was yesterday, and I kind of spent it with the metaverse. And with your endeavors, which is an insightful uh, introspection of self and your environment, I hear these people complaining and voicing basically a dead scream about higher consciousness, um, and even where they stand in political and religious states. And you have disruptors. I noticed your channel seems to be pretty well free of that, and you do poke the bear pretty hard. Um, I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I think people could take and learn um, a type of etiquette from you, a social media etiquette. You
Okay.
allow, yeah, you allow a grand, diverse amount of people on your platform, and it still remains peaceful. How do you conduct that? That's awesome to me.
I mean, part of me, right? It might sound weird, Axis, but when I do that, it's me kind of placing trust in people right there and then, and it seems to work. It seems to work, when you allow someone to just be free right there in that moment. I think part of it is partly to do with my energy from the get-go. They know to come correct, otherwise, it's just not going to work out. So I feel like me doing that, placing a bit of trust in them to come up and just be yourself, but at the same time be aware of yourself. And I think that's the beauty of it as well.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how powerful this type of communication and information is. Um, there is a beautiful point of this type of technology where information can be shared, information that generally in a lifetime you would not ever be able to receive or even be aware that that type of information is out there. And when I watch these disruptors, and you know how I feel about them,
Hmm.
um, very negative about them, it's kind of like sticking your tongue out at a library or a depository of information that is so vast that they're feeding this into what they consider the AI, the algorithm, the attempt at artificial intelligence that they give us. But I think that humans are true artificial intelligence, biological machines. And when you got a message and you see these disruptors come in, I take yesterday I took a position of defense. Um, what is your opinion on those type of people that don't take the advantage of this type of technology for the growth of inner self and potentially have a understanding of what you are solo endeavoring in your life and your existence and what you experience?
Well, for me, I think it's how can I put it to you? I feel like most of us are built different out here, right? And it shows. Um, I don't think some people are made to go the full extent with somewhat of the truth, right? I feel like they haven't got the endurance to keep up with the truth or keep searching for the truth. and it kind of shows, you know, in the way people present themselves. Even when you have a look at some of the people's presentations, and even some of the live streams people put together, right? They will stray far away from the truth. You know, even with me, like sometimes when I do go live, you know, to shoot in the shit, sometimes I do incorporate some of my works, even when I'm still shooting the shit, just to show you that hey, even though I'm shooting the shit, I'm still on the path. You know, I'm still looking out for gems, even though we're shooting the shit. And I feel like when some people do shoot the shit, they're not even looking for gems. They're just there to just to shoot the shit only.
Right.
And I
It's
think
kind of a.
difference.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying I think that's the difference between some people who's out here just for entertainment purpose, you know, and people that's genuinely trying to find out what's really going on.
That that seems to be what I run into with these individuals. Is I consider this place that we're at um,
Hmm.
a construct. It's governed by mathematics, proportion, all the way down to a subatomic level, which is part of your research on the fractal nature of things and the holographic approach to being a reflective image from somewhere else. And it would seem pretty definitely relevant to us being in a construct. And I think that these people that are stuck and don't advance, the more energy that they place into anchoring themselves to this temporary state, the more they become energy to feed the uh,
Hmm.
the construct. And I think the construct has a way of protecting itself, safety protocols, which I spoke of in the last live stream.
Okay.
And these safety protocols in place keep you, the minute you start seeing the nature of things and you start reading the dimensions, the equations, and the mathematics of it, it's almost as if you're immediately distracted and try to be pulled back into the construct. And I'm venturing forward to say that people should understand that inside themselves, they're solo, alone, and this endeavor is a solo adventure. And they could uh, they could actually, if they could understand that they're being distracted or they're being pulled into this temporary state to feed it and give it energy, it will keep you here. And the more energy you feed into it, the more it actually becomes your foundation. And I think that the foundation to all this is a construct, and the truth of the nature of a true observer is inside. There's no one
Hmm.
in here with you. And I also think that you feed the construct. When you look for something, and this goes with flat Earth or round Earth or even your endeavors, it seems that it almost uh, it almost appeases you with information to keep you away from the true nature of the underlying program, that what I call the constant that keeps you locked in. And the outside observer, instead of inward, where the shit really takes place, which you've covered, the eye and how
Hmm.
the eye works. And I've kind of researched that. And that seems to be something um, that is prevalent in very early cultures. and they seem to have had an understanding of this environment that I think modern day man doesn't quite receive because they are feeding the construct, and it keeps them almost in a prison here. What's your thoughts on that?
Definitely, definitely. The more you feed the construct what the construct wants, the more you're gonna come back to feed off that yourself. I feed the construct, stuff that I would want people to look into, and I think that's what keeps me coming back because every time I feed the construct, it's like the construct gives me what I'm looking for again, but just in a different way. So if you keep on, feeding it cookies, you're gonna get cookies back. If you keep feeding it goodness, you're gonna get goodness back. You keep feeding it shit, you're gonna get shit back.
I think
Right.
you're dead on.
Yeah.
I truly believe that garbage in, garbage out. You
Hmm.
know, and I hold to that. Um, this place seems to work off of it's kind of a loop. The more that you observe something, and the more that you involve yourself and your energies into it, the more it feeds into you, like you were saying, and then we become projectors, which I think that humans are like nodes. We have transmitters and we have receivers.
Hmm.
And some people are more of a transmitter. I think you're a transmitter. I think that you have a wonderful capability to transmit information that has been received because you're also, a receiver. You have an understanding of things in this construct and how it works that is shared, especially by me, and it's completely fascinating because I think all this can be changed with personal perspective and insightful understanding that you're projecting this, and it's kind of a feedback loop. How do you feel on that? The nature of that?
Of what? Sorry, the feedback loop.
Yes, yeah. I think people get caught up in it, and it instead of going in and forward, they go out, and I think they project um, the energy for themselves because you seem to be quite grounded. You seem to be quite insightful about your nature and who you are. I've seen that
Hmm.
through, especially your work with Holy AI. I love that. And awesome, awesome.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
really
you.
enjoy and get a kick out of those. But the people, I don't think they really sit down and take perspective on how they're really perceived because they're a part of this and they don't even realize that breath by breath they were created. They mostly resemble a functioning biological computer, almost a quantum. Well, it is a biological quantum machine in
Yeah.
superposition. And I'm just,
Hold on.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it was something. Sorry to cut you. It was something you said. What did you say? Something about they are part of this, right? That's one thing I've started to realize with the system and just the construct itself and the technological side of it, right?
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
when I see people this is just my opinion, right? I've noticed you see like people like myself or people that don't seem to go live as much as the other person and interact that way. I seem to like get along with them more. They seem a bit more sane. But when I look and I see some people going live for hours on end every day, and just just constantly in this space going live and all of that stuff. I feel like they're slowly becoming the machine as well. It's like when we just spoke about a part of the construct. I feel like that's the way how it all begins. When you give it too much of your time, and then obviously when you're giving it too much of your time, your your pool is bringing more people into kind of wasting their time, right? It's not just you wasting your time now, you're making other people waste their time when there's really they don't really have to be here in this space all the time doing this bullshit. I use this space just for information and just to kick it now and again, right? But when
Right.
you're out here to make a home on this place, it's like, this isn't home. Remember that much. This isn't that much of a home.
No, it's really not. It's interesting how they're trying to they're trying to uh, envelop us into the social media and another digital type existence. Um, I don't know if that's because, as conscious beings such as you, or I'd like to think myself, um, this construct that we're in now is
Hmm.
starting to reveal a lot more of what it truly is. And there are those of us that can kind of see that,
Mm.
and we can see that this construct is starting to reveal itself. So they're trying to feed us into a new type of consciousness, which would be a digital consciousness, such as the artificial intelligence, the transhumanism, and the metaverse and the Internet of Things, which is definitely coming. Your consciousness will then be probably 99% enveloped within a digital world. And at some point, you're going to lose touch with this construct, and you're going to become so ingrained in this new illusion because they're going to start touching the senses, your your five senses, and they're already feeding your consciousness, and it becomes a new type of reality and a system of control. When people don't even have the basic understanding of this construct or even themselves as a conscious being. And that's the way I see things headed. Just a new construct, a digital construct. And we were seeing being built. What do you think?
Uh-oh. You know what? I'm glad you said that, right? Because the digital side of the construct, yeah, that's where my next segment is kind of taking us, right? I'm gonna show you guys what, in my opinion, right, my humble opinion, what the Taurus field is, what the construct is, what they've been trying to show and tell us. I found a
Yep.
wicked correlation with the Taurus field and um, this place that we call home. I think I've cracked it, to be honest with you. So I'm quite happy you just said that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it, London. I keep up on your work because you're so relevant and close to what I do.
Hmm.
And I know I endeavor into the metaphysics of things pretty heavy and hard, which is kind of the fringe of the construct. But yet it has a correlation with your research and what you're doing and the digital world and how it's affecting us and our reality and how we perceive things. And yeah, I'm very excited to hear what you have to say on that because you have brought to light lots of things that I don't think are addressed properly
Mm,
or even researched properly.
mm.
And I have great appreciation for that. Anybody who endeavors to do forward thinking. How was your understanding of your research into metaphysics? Um, how did you come to a correlation with that?
I just started to see it was right in front of my face. Really, it's built within nature, or what we perceive as nature, what we understand to be nature. The metaphysics is all around us, really, and the more I the more I just sit back, it just flows. It just flows through. It just flows through. It just flows through, man. You just see it all around you.
Now,
So
what
you
I've
can't
been,
avoid it.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please, please. I'm
No, no,
sorry.
no, please. I was just saying you can't avoid. Well, I can't avoid it. I can't avoid it because it's everywhere now.
That's kind of what I ran into at a much younger age,
Mhm.
and I was fortunate enough to be around what I consider to be teachers, instructors. Um, they showed me a lot of different things and opened a lot of different perceptions. And when I ran into the metaphysics, I I then understood that things can be influenced. Um, you can project and influence this particular construct and manifest intent. And I think that we receive information, and there's this point where that information, or there's a time space before it manifests itself into reality, where you can put a suggestion into it. And then when it's transmitted,
Mhm.
that suggestion is transmitted into the field that you're talking about. It's all around us.
Yes.
Um, the ancients called it the ether,
Mhm.
you know,
Okay.
the great is. And George Lucas called it the force, but it's relevant. And I recently was watching some Tibetan martial artists and some from the Asiatic continent, and they were doing things that was absolutely mind-boggling. And I put it on my Facebook. I was floored at the ability of these people to control their environment, which tells me that this place um, is pliable, and you can suggest into this place and manifest um, energies. You can, push uh, even your influence, which is an old term I used, influence the field. And what
Yeah.
that is manifesting for you the best possible outcome of what your endeavor is, um, whether it be malevolent or benevolent. What's your feelings on that?
Yeah. I like what you said about when you put something definitely into the construct and it transmutes itself, finds itself back to you in a way, right? 'Cause there's sometimes when I'm looking at things, right, and it don't kind of make sense to me, but then when I kind of break it down in my head the hardest, right, to try and make it
Right.
make sense, I'll go away from it and then I'll come back again and it will come back to me in a different format where I can understand it better. I'm like, wow, did I just do that? Did I make it come back to me where I can understand it again? Like I'll look at something and it will have a pattern, but then at that time I can't see the pattern 100%, so I'll disregard it. I'll pull it to the side, and then it will come back to me in a different form. I'm like, wow, that looks like what I was just looking at before. Okay, now I see what they're trying to show me, and then it makes more sense to me now.
That's awesome. I relate to that completely. Uh, I found, such as you said, that whenever you allow possibility to happen and you project, um, such as you and your research, you kind of uh, you kind of request uh, information, and somehow it seems that this information, if you open yourself up to it, will reveal itself in ways that are very profound. if you're not truly in touch with the possibilities, and I think there's all possibilities. I don't limit anything. Um,
Hmm.
I I think that all things are possible, and I think that the only limitation is, you're your own limitation. You set your own safety protocols, such as if you was to present London to
Hmm.
certain indoctrinations, they would take you to the streets and stone you. But there is, they would do it to me in a heartbeat too. That's just the nature of these people. They, and I think that people who break free of that and allow possibility to happen instead of setting up safety protocols and limitations can receive information that allows them to exist in this construct with the least amount of resistance. Have you found that to be true?
Hold on, just before I get off topic, I think there may be someone in the back chat.
Oh, let me see here. Okay, my technology is going to have to be upgraded. I'm sorry about this. Let me take care of this. Just a second.
Salutes to the chat room. See the wonderful Pamela down there. Fools and tools in the building. Salutes to both of you.
Absolutely,
Good
absolutely.
afternoon or good morning, wherever you are. For
Okay,
Pam,
we
it
have
must be still
brothers.
night time, innit? Is it still night for Pam or just reaching morning?
Pamela's home. I consider Arizona home. So yeah, it's actually still way early morning.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
What's
Cage
up,
in the building.
Axis? What's up, London? Cheers, bro.
How you doing, Cage?
Same old, bro. You?
Good, good. I'm good, man. I'm well. I'm well. 4:45 in the morning. Jesus Christ.
An
Wow.
endeavor. It's an endeavor, but we do love having you here, London. And you know, Brother Cage here, he endeavors into the metaphysical side of things, and I've seen opposition rise against him, um, which is kind of fascinating because his endeavors aren't much different than yours or mine,
Hmm.
and he is met with a type of hostility, which seems to me that he has potential for information that the construct um, doesn't want to be revealed, um, and where you're concerned, I don't see that same resistance. I receive resistance because sometimes I just step up to the plate. Do you think that potentially the construct is trying to uh, set up a type of safe protocol for certain information?
Yeah. Well, I feel like information and the construct itself will reveal itself to us, right? I think it probably has been trying to reveal itself to us. And I feel like the powers that shouldn't be, they're probably working hard around the clock for us to stop finding out the ways how it's revealing itself. Like even with the restrictions of places where you can't and you can go, right? I bet if there was places where we was allowed to step over the border, we would see part of the construct revealing itself to us, right? And same way with some of these loopholes, I bet there's probably avenues on this metaverse where you can somewhat be alongside the construct, whether it's digital or anything like this. So I feel like they've got every corner locked down, but at the same time, it's still open, but it's just being guarded in that sense.
Right. That's what I kind of call the safety protocol of the construct. it attempts to hide itself, um, and it has a type of feed to it to mask itself almost behind what you're perceiving. And I do
No,
believe that.
no, sorry, let me
Okay,
stop you there. But this is the thing, Access. I don't think it's hiding. How can you hide something, right? In my opinion, this is just my opinion, on a planetary scale. The only way you can hide it is to tell people it's not there.
exactly, exactly, and that's a beautiful observation. Um,
Mm,
let me try and quantify that.
mm-hmm.
You are a particular type of node that transmits and receives information um, by your awareness. And such as Cage, he transmits and receives information at like a node. And that would be like a megabyte in a digital way in this construct. And I think that the powers that be, where we are individual megabytes, they are potentially more of a gigabyte. And they do use the constellation and the great celestial clock, we'll call it, for movement of cycles. And I think particularly, um, especially during the transition of power, which happened way back during the what we're told is the Inquisition. These people have existed through many resets, um, many cataclysms, and they've managed to keep that consciousness alive. And somehow they work with the construct to project to us falsehoods that some people buy into and will stand on to their death. And we've seen this throughout history. Um, so I have to agree with you. It's not that it's trying to hide itself; it's that they are hiding it. How do you feel about that?
Best way to hide something is in plain sight, right?
Right.
But I've noticed, like, when you get deep with people into certain subjects and that, it's a common thing. People say they get headaches and they get tired. It's it's very odd. Like, I've had multiple people tell me that, they start getting headaches, they get tired. It's weird. It's like some weird,
Hold on, I'm
whatever you're
back.
calling it.
Say that again. Cage, to get headache and tired from what?
When you start going deep into certain subjects.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. I've heard like a dozen people tell me that before. It's funny.
No, well, I, this this is the thing, right? I've seen the level of deepness people can get, and I feel like they only get tired from the recycled information. When it's new stuff, right? I've seen the way how people gravitate to it, and there's just a flowing conversation. But when it seems to be the same old stuff that's been repeated, I even get tired and bored of it. I just mute up, or I'll just drop off the panel. That's my way of
No,
saying
no,
it.
I'm saying like it could be new information. I'm saying they physically get a headache though. It's like some sort of system set up in their
Oh,
mind. Like,
okay,
yeah,
okay. Oh, interesting, interesting.
like too much, right? The body just it's one of those safety protocols that Access is talking about.
Yeah, they reject the information by um, indoctrination, which is actually programming. Someone who allows themselves to be indoctrinated is like feeding a program into a computer. And that
Mm,
program is not going to go any further than what that program is designed for. And if you try to put two programs together that are proprietary to themselves, they're going to conflict. And one of them is going, well, actually, both of them will start a conflictive nature within the system. So, those of us that don't buy into or allow us to be indoctrinated with a program seem to be outside of that and we're able to receive that information by giving up the indoctrination
But
and refuting it. Go ahead, please.
do you know what that actually sounds like? When I actually thinking about it now, what you and Cage said, that sounds like. Do you remember when we used to be younger and we had to, sit down in school and try to learn stuff, right? But sometimes when you're sitting down, you're trying to learn, you're trying to do something, and it's new to you, you haven't yet come across it. It kind of hurts you. You're like, fucking hell, my brain's hurting trying to figure this out, right? Could that be somewhat of the information that we come across, when it's new to us and we're trying to figure it out? It's like, how can I wrap my brain around this? It bloody hurts. So you just disregard it. Is that like the same thing, what you're trying to say, or is that something
Yes.
different? Okay.
No, that's exactly what we're saying. Is that there are certain nodes, humans, that like I said, they're receiving and transmitting,
Hmm.
and it seems that some of them have a safety protocol that doesn't allow certain information to envelop and grow within them, and it stresses the system within themselves. And I think that it once they're set into this and they're fed this, then any conflicting information is going to be rejected. And that's the same with any protocol within a computer until you reach superposition.
It's like
I'm
the
sorry, Cage.
program rejects it or something in a way.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that this particular plane of existence that we're on, which they call the third dimension, and the temporary state is almost coinciding with a computer. You have binary information, which is a construct of ones and zeros, creating information that is solid. Then you have superposition, which is a quantum state, so they say, where all possibilities are retained within 1001 in a superposition. So it's not a 1 and it's not a 0, but it is a 1 and a 0 at the same time, reflecting all possibilities in a quantum state, which coincides with a human. We're biological quantum computers, and we're living in a construct that is designed almost as if you were working with a program on a computer. How do you feel about that information?
Yeah, I agree with that to some degree because the body itself is like a computer itself, right? Or it's it's the mind is the computer, should I say? The mind is the computer, and or the hard drive, And I feel like it's almost like a computer within a computer.
And they're trying to almost coerce us with, um, we'll call it human bait, to go digital. And even, Elon Musk succeeding in this chip. I don't know if you've kept up on this, that he put into a quadriplegic who can now control a computer with his mind.
Well,
Whereas before he had a little. Go ahead, please.
no, I just said, wow, I wasn't aware of that. Was not aware.
Oh he just come and did a worldwide kind of update, and the quadriplegic was explaining how before he had to use his mouth to control a
Hmm.
little stick, which controlled a cursor, and he no longer needs anything. That chip, the neurochip that was put into him, allows him to interface with a computer, a digital system, without any type of physical intervention, medium whatsoever. And
It's
he
all
was,
through thought, yeah.
yes, and he was telling people that the potential for this to change and revolutionize the way that we live, think, and perceive things are going to change. And he said that being a quadriplegic and being in a digital state, that he felt that quadriplegic and him being one wasn't a handicap anymore.
Mm.
That to me was extremely profound.
It's not the first company
He
to
knows,
do it either. You know, it's been around for a while. Some university in California had someone hooked up with that like years ago.
right. I'm curious as to how far that technology has gone for them to build and sell us this new ideal of a new construct, the metaverse, which obviously now they have a neuro interface with, and a quadriplegic saying that he didn't feel it was a handicap anymore, which is basically throwing the biological machine to the side. Um, I'm wondering if this construct isn't built on maybe an older construct, and there's so many levels to this of it reinventing itself through cycles, which are controlled by a celestial, um, almost cycles of systems, and it reinvents itself. And maybe the only thing that truly holds any substantial reality is the inner conscience, the observer. And we're about to step into a revolutionary new digital reality. You know, I'm concerned, the same as the warnings that we've received with the AI and the development of technology, that we're, as we are going to be considered dissident to the new system. We're going to be considered, negative information in the program, kind of like a virus. And at one point, they're going to have to take the action to maybe keep our information or our understanding of this construct, and the fact that we're being guided to a new one, um, and the censorship campaign that they're waging, um, seems to coalesce. How do you feel about this place being a construct on a construct?
Yeah, I've a construct within a construct. Yes, I mean to some degree that is most of the body. When you look at the anatomy of the body, there's places within inside places. That's just like what I've been telling you guys with the upper room. You've got the eye within the head, so that's something within something, and then you have the lens within the eye, so that's a construct within another construct. It's almost like when you open the roof to the house, there's another roof you have to open, right?
Right.
So more like a construct within a construct, just like the body, just like I've been saying.
Well, I can tell you, in the nature of what I call the constant, this construct, there is, if you've ever studied divine proportion, uh, golden mathematics, um, this is written into everything that is perpetuated in this construct. Trees, conch shells, which is what they use to illustrate the geometric golden section, divine proportion. And you can tell whenever man has manipulated or changed something in the construct, because he tries to base it off of this golden geometry and replicate what is naturally here. And that's written within a mathematical code if you ever go that deep and study it.
Hmm.
And it seems that, especially with what's coming with the new cycle. I don't know if you're aware of the new cycle that's about to transpire and the celestial nature of things. The energies in this particular construct are really amping up. And I think it's kind of changing uh, people's perception and awareness. And they're talking about firing starting up on April 8th during all this celestial conjunctions and eclipse. They're going to be shooting rockets up. And I'm thinking they gave all these technologies ancient names, if you look into it. What's your take on the April 8th event and their reaction to it and the protocols that they're taking with the National Guard and pushing an agenda?
Oh, I don't know about the National Guard stuff, but with the rockets and the things what you were just speaking on, they're definitely reenacting something. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is, but just by the names they give these mechanical devices and stuff, it sounds like they're paying homage to the serpents, right? The worm, the dragon, and all of these things. The ancients spoke about the Hydra and all of these other things, battling serpents, whether it's Tiamat or a dragon that's mentioned in the Bible. But most of these rockets seem to have names after serpents and all of these things. You know, they're reenacting out scriptures in
I
that sense.
I was kind of confounded at the fact that they're taking on scientific endeavors, so they say, but they're actually projecting the energy of ancient deities that were heavily influential and took on roles such as the serpent. And Cage, I know that you're aware of, the original cult of the serpent and the serpent knowledge, which I'm more of a Shivite, Naga. I carry serpent knowledge in me. Do you think there's a biological connection between the serpent and the human that they're trying to correlate with the changing events to maintain themselves?
You got Charles in the background.
Thank you, Cage. I'm sorry.
I didn't even hear what Cage said.
I just said we had Charles in the back.
Charles in the okay, cool.
Yes.
What's
Good
up,
evening.
Axel? Hey,
So,
Good
How you
evening.
doing?
Yeah, we Charles is really endeavoring into understanding the construct itself and the metaphysics behind it, and I appreciate a lot of what he has to offer. That's why I go to his channel and enjoy the time there, especially with some of the things that he has to offer. Cage is also he represents himself there occasionally too. It's good to have you. It's great to have you. You can put your link in the chat. That's fine, Charles. We're discussing the relativity between the projected image that they're trying to cover up, which is basically the truth, and those of us that are kind of on the fringe and being able to see how the true workings of this particular place it operates. You have anything to offer in on it?
can you guys hear me? I'm on the bus. I hope it's not too loud.
Go
But
ahead.
I watched the video this morning on that. And of course, they always bring, the religious aspect into it. and they said 7 years ago there was an eclipse that went. It's going to form a cross, which don't make sense because I don't even know how eclipses go from the west to east. But anyway, that's what they say. It went over 7 cities called Salem, and 7 years later they're going to go over another 7 cities that align. And they're saying God's giving a message. I don't know all that stuff, but I'm looking forward to the eclipse because I'll be able to see it in Connecticut. So I'm looking forward
Right.
to it.
You are a little noisy at the moment, but you are coming through. So yeah, just mute up whenever you're not talking. I agree that there is a mathematical equation behind the coming events on the 8th, and I align the understanding that the heavenly bodies, the celestial bodies, have an influence on this construct, almost as if it's counting cycles and repeating them. And it would seem that there is a particular group that is quite aware that there is an influence from the celestial bodies on this construct and on the consciousness that we are, and the relativity to it being related to the serpent. Does anybody have any insight on that?
So one more time, can you repeat that again? I was trying to do 3 things at once, not even 2 things. 3 things.
Multitasking. The mathematical correlation between the celestial bodies
Hmm.
and how it affects what's going on here on this construct, and how it will kind of affect the energies of each individual. And is there something that correlates that between the serpent, which is the kind of the original, or presented as it's the original knowledge, the serpent wisdom?
Yeah, well, I feel like I said, my new upload will kind of will show the correlations with the construct and the effects that it could have on us, right? Because I hear people speak about the Taurus field, right? And they're
Right.
saying the Taurus field has an effect on us to a degree. So through my research, what I've came across, right, with
Yes.
the lens, they're showing me how the lens is responsible for the Taurus field on
I
a
don't
micro
know.
level.
I'm sorry, Brendan. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, then the lens is responsible for the Taurus field, the eye,
I didn't.
basically.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were aware, but when we speak, there is a torus field that is actually there when we speak and project information. And it also has a geometric design behind it. I don't know if you've ever studied schematics before and seen the geometry that sound can make. And it correlates to ancient geometry um, that the ancients seem to understand. But when we speak, there is a torus field, which is a type of energy, and the vibration within that we call voice or information
Hmm.
is projected through that torus field from our voice. Were you aware of that?
No.
Um, have you ever studied much on somatics and how sound,
Oh, the sound part,
vibration?
yes, yes. The sound part, yes, the vibration. But I wasn't where. So are you? But I'm saying. So hold on. Are you saying if I'm speaking outwards, that can that would that have an effect on my Taurus field inside of me?
I
If
think
if I'm
so. I
projecting,
think it's
okay, okay.
yeah, you're projecting energy, and with that torus field and how that vibration also has geometry behind it according to each language, and you vibrate information through the air, basically. You know, it's a vibration and a frequency. Because I've
Can
done a
light
lot with
be
frequency.
vibration?
I'm sorry.
Can light be vibration?
I've researched that, and the fact that they can cut metal with a laser, which is photonic. I
Hmm.
would say absolutely. And at a subatomic level, from what information they present, is when they achieve a final state of subatomic observation, it is more
Hmm.
photonic and light. And I think that correlates with it being pliable. Light seems to hold some type of cause and effect. And it's definitely a physical energy that can be represented. They can cut stone with it, which is a vibration.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the the human the human in this state, we project a particular um, vibration or sound when we speak, which affects our environment, our other nodes. We're transmitting, and those who are receptive are receiving, and they do an interpretation, and it manifests within that interpretation, and then it's transmitted. And this is energy flowing through the air. If you get where I'm going with this,
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. But I mean, one of the reasons why I asked you about the light being a vibration, right? Can it be transmitted? Because even just to speak, right, to even create sound, I have to give energy, right? But for me to take in energy, light, vibration, I'm not doing no type of movements where I'm gonna be letting out energy. Right, I'm just taking in constant information, right? Especially when they use that word like solar power, right? Solar system, right? I feel like even
correct?
just being in a still calm state, right? When these people speak about meditating and things like this, they're not moving or using no words, right? But they're conducting the photons, the light, right? Especially if you're speaking about where my research is taking me with like I said about the lens, right? The torus field. I've stumbled across something where they was using the torus field with the lens, and the lens is in the eye, and if we're taking in the light, right, but we're just taking it in, we're not putting out any energy, we're taking in energy. Now imagine if you're just taking in energy constantly, and it's always getting stored in you. I feel like this may be the how would you call it, how they would speak about the sun, how it's always constantly burning, but we know of the sun not to be how they speak about it, but the inner sun, whether it's the pineal gland. I feel like that's somewhat of how we when they speak about solar power, but that's on a micro scale as the solar system, right? Because the sun
Right?
keeps everything in motion to some degree in the solar system, right?
We call it, yeah. In ancient tradition, the sun goes through 4 cycles,
Okay.
solar cycles, and those are considered the long count, and that happens over the course of thousands of years. So to have that information means that somewhere along the line, somebody kept track of this,
Mm,
such as the Mayan calendar, or they did the math, one or the
okay.
other. Math
Okay.
applies to that. And we are transitioning. I don't know if you understand that we are transitioning into a new cycle with the sun on the long count calendar, the solar calendar. I don't live by the Gregorian calendar. I didn't know if you knew that or not. I have a 13-month year. Um, my New Year's is April 1st, and I use the moon for each day. So, to me, my month is only 28 days, according to the moon and the cycle of the moon. You can also use the stars, to count the house and the mode and the energy that's being projected to you in this construct. So this information of the cycles of the sun, which seems to be true and relevant because it's happening now, has a massive effect, apparently, on civilization, and it even corresponds with cataclysms through history. And I think that it's I don't, I can't truly say, with 100% confirming, but it seems that humans who are receiving information, um, like Cage said, there are those that will carry that information across through the generation of a new cycle, such as the one that they talked about, the Great Cataclysm. And it seems to be just a constant and a circular thing. How does that apply to your research on the Taurus field? How that would affect if we are, in fact, within a Taurus field and there is celestial energy being pushed out? Do you think that that's the potential for, like some of the cataclysms that happened?
Well, yes, how can I put it to you? Even with the cataclysms that happened, right? They seem to be on like a grand scale. Like even when you see floods, um, earthquakes, and all these things, right? They're on a mass scale, like um like if a human's not in control, or human our size, right? And if a human our size is in control, you'd think about technology and all of these things, right? You know,
Yeah,
but sometimes when I think about that, I feel like is it really the micro and the macro world, or the macro world that's really responsible for the destruction of this micro realm, right? You know, the move. Because look, even when I think about this place, right, I still think about a science experiment, right, to some degree. And even when I think of, like, this word God, or the way how they describe him, beard, old man, long white jacket, I feel like a doctor, right? I feel like someone's just the all-seeing eye. He's got his lens looking at the whole body. It's like we're on an operating table to some degree, right? But I feel like, when we've been moved around too much, that could be responsible for the floods, or just certain things happening, just us getting moved around on a macro scale, on the outside of this realm.
which
That's where some of the destruction is coming from. It's out of it's out of our hands sometimes. It's not even us doing it. My
I
humble
agree.
opinion.
Yeah, I very much agree. I think that there is an overwhelming influence that equates the macro and the micro, and that the celestial bodies that are in this confined, we seem to be in a closed system, and it's governed by the celestial bodies, which keeps a count of the cycles, and we don't have any type of control over the events that happen because of the cycles, the great cycles that happen. We are just victims of it, if you want to call us victims. We can't govern it, and we can't stop it because it's within the mathematics that is set within the heavenly bodies, and that energy is dominant to the process of what we call, our plane of Earth, our plane of existence. And they're trying to maybe alter the heavens and the influence that these celestial bodies have on us, and the energies which are toroidal in nature, um, to keep something from maybe transpiring that we haven't ever really had control of.
Yeah, yeah, that's where I'm kind of heading with it. That's where I'm kind of heading with it.
Well, I love the fact that you take in, the moon and the sun, and my understanding through some of the things that I've experienced and learned is that there is a governing energy from the celestial bodies, which is a projection, and there's an equation and a math behind it that seems to recycle, almost like a computer refreshing. And I have noticed that environmentally, this place is like, they say God, and they worship this image that they've perceived for themselves to be the creator, or whether it's Brahma, Vishnu, it, whatever culture and whatever creator. It seems that if which I assume that we are created, we were based off of a mathematical equation, and the universe almost has a refresh rate, and it refreshes itself through resources, and it tries to use the least amount of resources for each individual, giving you the maximum amount of information and data that it can, but still reserving as much um, processor speed. And I think that that is the relevance between what we're doing with computers and trying to create a new metaverse. What's going on here, what happened in the past, and how it all is a conjunction underneath a closed system, which makes me think that God is more of a computer programmer,
Mm,
and like you said, maybe this is a science project. You know, uh, that
mm-hmm.
that seems to be a
I agree with
relevant thing. You know, go ahead, Charles. You have some input on this.
saying I agree. You said God or the creator or creators uh, have the wisdom or knowledge to build computers. I think everything we do or think of, you know, the creators are definitely possible or have already done it. I mean, the place does look like a motherboard when you look at a city from high above. Um, Everything definitely is energy.
So, do you think that there is a kind of like the traditional concept of the Council of Nine, or the archons, or something that continues to consciously be, I don't know, kind of carriers of information and knowledge of this place throughout each reset, each cycle? Or do you think that it's just the way that it was set up and designed by the creator, the programmer, whoever had the mathematical and the ability to manifest what we call consciousness, being alive, which puts me in the state that if we were created, then there is another level of awareness way beyond ours, because we can't breathe vibration, frequency, and energy and create conscious life. We have to artificially attempt it. So, this creator God, to my notion, is another form of just higher consciousness, higher understanding of mathematics, even hyper dimensional mathematics, and set into motion almost a um, perpetual motion cycle that feeds on itself and loops. And a higher consciousness that created this almost seems to be completely, uh, almost reserved, in kind of indifferent to what happens. Though they petition with prayer, I think that's a projection of your own energy being reflected back to you, especially through a toroidal state. When you speak it, it happens. And is kind of a reflection of a much higher state of being that is outside of this construct. How do you feel about that being a possibility, that we aren't the be all end all of awareness as we understand it, and that being created means that there is a much more um, aware state of being outside of this construct, which is a whole nother um, almost dimension.
And I think this place, I look at it as these creators. Like, I kind of look at it like we're their creation. Or they study us like an ant, like we're their ant farm or something. Whatever the creators are, we're the higher, the source. I think there's more than one creator. And
Right.
we can't, like you said, we can't create, however the human or
You're
whatever
breaking.
label people want to put on it, we can't duplicate. Like you said, we got to go to technology. We can't create a biological computer from scratch like this. However we got here, we can't even duplicate water, create that from scratch. But they're definitely trying.
That's what it would seem to be. I want to say thank you to London for showing up on the panel. His battery ran low. It was definitely an honor to have him here. I definitely suggest searching his channel out and his research. He's very cutting edge and avant-garde to construct and information, and he's always presenting new information that might give you a better perspective or an understanding of yourself or your environment. Thank you, London. I was honored by your appearance.
Yeah, thanks, London. I always appreciate London's work because he's in his own lane. It's he's like doing the opposite almost of what other people are doing. I appreciate that.
Right. He does profound work. I'm curious as to what your perspective is on the fact that we are definitely not the be all end all. We are just since we were created, and that seems to be the nature of things, that this consciousness that created us is just a much more capable type of entity. Is the best word that I have to describe it.
I think we were created in the lab. They tweaked. Maybe these more supreme beings, but my theory is the more supreme. I mean, you're talking about the creator, like that made everything.
Yeah.
I don't even think we were created by the creator. We could have been tweaked DNA from those other people. Maybe. I don't know. That's just a theory. I'm not saying that's factual. But yeah, I don't. That's just a sad truth. When you say we, how'd you put it? We are at the end all. How'd you put that?
The end all be all of life, of
End all.
consciousness, of awareness. I don't think we are, because we were created and we were
Yeah.
basically governed by a mathematical equation, which is still the system that we're under. And because of a mathematical equation being involved, I can't see there being this supernatural type of state not applied within the creation of mathematics, which is seemingly a technology that's beyond our capability. And that is what we address to be God, the creator.
Yeah, I think the creator created, or the creators, and then these taller people are kind of not mocking in a bad way, but mimicking what the creator did. You know, like
Kind of the old Lucifer fallen, wanting to be the creator. Wow, that was interesting. So it's kind of man trying to imitate God the best that he can, which was the
oh,
trying to take his position.
I don't think that in a bad way. You know, people say that evil and all that, but you know, which is true. You know, how can we say it's evil? Um, I'm almost in my house. I'll be away from this noise. Just give me 1
Thank
minute.
you. Okay, Cage. Well, I'm looking forward to your insight on this.
Oh yeah, I've been working in the background here, making
Absolutely.
noise too. On what exactly?
On the fact that we are not the be all end all of consciousness, and the fact that
Yeah.
we're created and governed by a mathematical equation, that there is another state of being that is much more capable of things than we are, and that we're in a closed system that was created.
Yeah, like a simulation or something kind of. Right?
Right. That we are nothing more than a lesser type of equation that was created from something that obviously has uh, some type of divine understanding of principles that we can't seem to grasp. And it seems to be, like Charles said, observing, maybe kind of keeping a presence that can't be defined, um, possibly couldn't be comprehended because of our limitations of being able to reach those proportions of thought, dimensional thought, like thinking in 4 dimensions or perceiving information in 4 dimensions or 5 dimensions or 6 dimensions, which, they seem to say that there's 11 dimensions within this construct and creation. Do you think that maybe there's a type of entity or a type of I hate to put any type of physical representation to it, that is able to kind of govern this equation that we live in through a different dimensional perspective? And that's where we're kind of subject to the winds and the wheels of that which created us.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
So
Yeah.
the knowledge that you study, Cage, I'm very familiar with, and the path that you take is a very lonely path. I definitely understand and know that. The esoterics behind it seems to be the link between us and this profound concept of a God, um, something that we couldn't understand because it's outside of the mathematics. It's outside of the equation, and it is a completely foreign type of existence that, because of its dimensional capabilities, we can't possibly perceive. But through like the schooling that you represent and the endeavors that I took, it seems that the ancients had some kind of connection with this through metaphysics, through a system of information and process, and they could almost receive and interpret higher dimensional information from a consciousness or a entity that
Yeah.
that is much more capable than what we are. What are your feelings on that, Cage?
Yeah, I think there is a connection with everybody through the subconscious mind. Um, so that's why people they use things like geomancy or divination, different forms of divination to kind of tap into the algorithm or something. But yeah, I
So
think they're
you
just communicating with the algorithm,
so you
right?
understand
To find out.
the process of the algorithm then.
Yeah, well, the best of my ability. Yeah.
So the divine cycles and the way that even in the mystery schools, uh, which this is probably a little more information I should reveal, that their awareness of the system and the consciousness that put it into motion, um, there is a type of metaphysics behind that exceeds the cycle of the equation, and we're capable of some type of interface with it, but it doesn't operate under the same laws of physics and even metaphysics, or what we consider to be outside of the norm. Do you think that's a part of what and I'm going to give people a kind of a rabbit hole to go down, that the mystery schools were kind of teaching their students this grand equation and how the rhythm and cycles of the equation work, and being able to communicate through a conduit to a non-mathematical based entity, which allows kind of a quantum state of representation?
Yeah, it's interesting, Axis.
It depends on the mystery school, right? Some of them have more mystical teachings, or and then there's occult teachings. And the occultist is a bit different. Right? The mystic is more about the imagination and kind of using different ways to tap into that. Or then you can go into something like Pythagorean mystery school, where they're more into the occultism of the numbers and the geometry behind it all.
You are
So
extremely
different.
well versed on mystery schools, Cage. I would love to have some real deep insight from you.
And so it depends on the teaching, right? There's many ways to get there, to tap into that unconscious. Or if like you were saying before, like how people are biological computers, right? And then I guess like the internet could be considered the Earth's magnetic field, where all information stored and uploaded and downloaded in that. It's like the Wi-Fi between all the minds, right? Connecting. different computers connecting into it.
I've always been drawn to the occult. Um, I don't know. It's always been present in my life. The symbols, the people. But I just took my, time into, because of all the spookism and the negative energy people try to throw on it. And it's usually the people who know nothing about the occult or the symbols, and they're throwing negativity all over it, and they don't even understand any of it.
It's the fear of the unknown, right?
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Well, Nietzsche had an interesting saying. He said that all things great and progressive must first wear a most horrible face and representation. For me, I won't give out information because I don't want to be responsible for people who go insane or tap into things that could possibly cause them great harm, and that information is definitely kept from people, and the information I have, I will not share for people's safety, because not everybody is prepared to have that type of information or even utilize it responsibly.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why, some of us, such as Cage, London, and there's other platforms who are in touch with this. And we understand that there are certain people who can carry this discipline and be responsible with that type of information and knowledge. And then there's those that would just recklessly, with abandon, use it for their own needs and wants and desires. Do you think? Because I get a lot of slack over, all information should be free, all information should be revealed. Well, what
Some
if that
things are best kept
information?
secret, because exactly,
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt you, but because exactly what you said. Some people take the information and crash out with it, or they wouldn't be able to handle it, and they'll go crazy. That's why I tell people, you're conjuring up stuff, you have no clue what you're doing. You might not be able to harness that energy, and then you're screwed.
Brother Cage here, he's very aware of that, and he's sent out many times, cautionary information. This may not be for everybody, and especially, some of the extremes that I go to. Um, I push this biological machine to its limit and try to without any reserve exceed that which we consider the common. But in those states, there is a potential, and I'm aware of this because I don't have the safety protocol. I have to set that myself for me to push the limits of what I'm capable of to the point where this construct in my biological machine can no longer sustain itself, which is basically death. And I don't want that information out there. But I do try to, for those that have any understanding, just like Cage, put a roadmap up for those who can understand. And I know, Charles, that you allow a lot of different people and different. Um, you try to be as just and fair as you can on your channel to every individual. Um, but I think that when you're wanting to truly follow something, you've got to give 100% of yourself, which is what I did with, my understanding and how I conducted myself to get to that state. Um, do you agree with putting up warnings and flags, especially to the variety of like people passing through your channel?
Mm-hmm.
that maybe they're
Everything
not
isn't for
ready.
everyone.
Right, right.
And I don't think a lot of people that come, I'm not just trying to disrespect anyone, including myself. Like, if it's meant to happen, I'll come upon it, and that's how I see it. But I don't think some of these people are built for certain areas. Um, like you
What
said, they'll go insane
what
and more
was it
stuff.
that brought you to a higher observation of things, a more open and broad perspective on possibilities? What brought you to that point, Charles? I'm very interested.
Um, Meaning, like, why I don't stick with like one. What to be open minded? You're saying, right? To
Yeah, what
um
brought you to that point? You had to
what
have been at one time ignorant of absolute
we
potential.
all are, yeah. Um, the music played a part, and I would ask a lot of questions always when I was younger to older people to get because I know their experience and just my mother played a big part in me being open minded through what she went through with religion and my own research led me to see that things people are saying isn't true. My higher self will always tell me there's more to this than what's being presented. They're not given the full. And I
So
always
I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'm trying to
I was
think how to put this together.
I was just making an observation. What you were saying is you had to shed the lies that you had been fed, or the program that you had been fed, and you started removing the information that you had been fed, and it kind of opened up possibilities.
Yes. And I don't know. I could read people pretty good. And a lot of these religions, man, I just seen a salesman. Uh, if you really want to know something, like you said, you put 100% of yourself into it. It's like kung fu or anything in life. You want to master something, you got to give it your all. You can't focus on, I think it was Bruce Lee or somebody said in kung fu, if you're trying to master something, you got to have your mind on that completely. You can't be thinking about making a sandwich, you know, while you got to have total, I don't know, word attention or you know what I'm trying to say.
Well,
But
Concentration.
yeah, concentration. You have to be all in. Like I said, you can't be thinking about making a sandwich while in a practicing. But I don't know. I really can't answer that. Like, it's just I've always my inner voice would always tell me, like, it's trying to guide me. Um, I always, even now, the information I've gotten now, I just feel as though it's just not everything. I know there's more.
right, right. You're trying to comprehend uh, that potential
Yeah.
that's there, and you know it's there. I think inherently, um, me being very mathematically minded, and I think that quantum physics, like I had mentioned in a previous live stream, is more of a philosophy applied than it should be a science, or even taken as a a endeavor that doesn't have some type of metaphysics to it. That seems to be the nature of the quantum state, and it has a particular math behind it, hyperdimensional math. And I had to endeavor 100% into states of physical. I had to burn myself physically, and especially, my consciousness. And I think that some people, written within the genetic code of the vehicle or the body that they're in, pretty much is mathematically governed, and that's through genetics. And I think that some people carry a genetic line or a lineage that is capable of processing and perceiving much more understanding of how everything has potential, and we break those limitations. We tear the safety walls down that other people hide behind, and we set our own safety nets up. And some people just aren't capable of doing that.
Like you,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Charles. Please.
I was thinking, even when I was searching, and I grew up around people from all over the realm, different religions, different practices. It's not just religion, and I've always been
Philosophy, schools
interested.
of knowledge.
Yeah, like knowledge is like infinite. The more I
Right.
learn, the more I realize that I really don't know much. Um, but even like I said, I could read people, and I just felt there was more, and
Oh,
it seemed like they misdirect people, and I could tell that when a lot of preachers preach, they're misdirecting the people. It's more of a control mechanism they use instead of being straight up. I've always felt that, so I would avoid. And I would go into churches and always felt like I didn't belong in there. I felt like churches were for the stagnant and docile, not to down anyone. You know,
well, they
maybe
they just feed into programming and limitations much more easily than a particular breed of human or species of human, which kind of, it's a warning signal that this is not uh, this is not healthy information for you to take in. Utilize what you can of it, but don't allow that construct or that program to rule over the construct through you. And you recognize that.
like witches. When I was younger, they would make the witch look evil, and they would put like she was stirring up body parts and stuff. They're trying to steer you away from certain stuff, and
Possibilities.
yeah, and if people realize, like, common sense, people are in the kitchen, you're doing witchcraft, spices and all that. You're concocting a recipe is like a spell almost, right? In a way, sort of
So,
similar.
yeah, we see that through pharmakia because I endeavor into various states of consciousness that are induced by different substances. And in certain situations, they're enhancements to give you a understanding of a broader perspective, such as people who go and they do DMT. And it seems to be such a profound thing to them that they feel they changed in some way. And I've pushed myself with various, um, let's say, enhancements to achieve states of understanding of where I am and what I am and my state of consciousness, which brought me to the understanding that, you know, being a creation has a massively profound effect on me. I don't feel that since I was created, my abilities to replicate or even achieve the level that whatever created all this could be. And I think that sets up a mass amount of limitations to possibility outside of the range of the human spectrum. And that's where I'm trying to place myself.
I think there's like definitely more places like this realm. You know, I kind of picture this place as being like a greenhouse, you know, because the firmament and everything, it's enclosed system. So I think there's more craters or realms like this. Maybe they genetically modified the DNA different ways and in different places. It's like an experiment, this whole place. Whether people want to look at that as a positive thing or a negative, that's on them. And maybe a lot of this stuff was created because, like we said earlier, people can't handle the truth. They would fall out and die. It would be too shocking to them. Maybe it would hurt them so bad that, you know.
I'm curious. Go ahead, please.
I was just gonna finish it with, you know, I used to talk a lot of crap about, you know, the secrets and all that stuff. But I've come to the realization, you know, through the years of speaking to people that not everyone could handle the truth, and some secrets are best kept. You know, like we were talking earlier, people wouldn't know how to handle it. So I respect that. But me, I'm hungry for, and it's not me being, you know, gathering the information to be cool or to think I'm above anyone. It's just something I like to do. So I'm very interested in the whole truth. You know,
Well, I'm gonna put a very profound question to you and Cage. My in-home's here, so I'm gonna have to shut down. But I wanna at least end on a profound note that maybe people can try and wrap their heads around. Um, what is your take on the fact that since we were created, that we are not the be all end all, and that we are kind of a limited, um, I don't know, a limited in our ability to comprehend the state that created us. And it is so far removed from our interpretation or understanding, and even the conscious awareness that we were created seems to make us um, a little bit less in the nature of what we are. How do you guys feel about that?
sometimes I think there's a strong possibility we could have been created to be servants to these more intelligent or higher consciousness beings, or I think we're like lesser versions. When you say be all end all, what do you mean by that?
That there's nothing beyond human consciousness, that we are at the top of the chain of existence. And I don't think that's true. I think we're just a part of a fractal existence. and that there
It's a strong
are,
possibility.
yeah, because the implications that we were created is like a computer programmer sitting down and writing a program and allowing it to run and operate in a computer. And to say that, you know, being human and being consciously aware that we are, that we know how to do the programming, and that we understand the ins and out workings of the confines of this construct, which are withheld within, the cosmic computer, and the understanding that the implications of us being created would say that something wrote the program for what we are, and that our ability to observe where we're at through these biological quantum computers is a state of virtual consciousness within a creation by a programmer.
Maybe, like you said earlier, Axis, I personally think we are energy from these so-called fallen angels. They use their energy maybe to create a lesser version. Um,
Just fine.
that's a possibility. I don't think people would be able to handle that if that was like the utmost truth.
Right, right. And such as I say with the esoteric schools of knowledge, um, some things shouldn't be available information to everyone. Cage, you got any closing ideals or information or, perspective on, that the fact that we were created and the implications that has on our existence?
Well, I was gonna mention something earlier about remember about you said like, oh, we give warnings and that it's not for everybody type thing. I've
Right.
showed people. Remember that dice thing?
Yes.
I've showed multiple people that, and the first thing they do is like, oh, I'm gonna go gamble with it. I'm gonna go start trying to make money off of it, and then or like, oh, you should go play the lottery or go to the casino or something. I'm like, what the fuck? So there's one lady, it was on this guy Claridon's channel. It's a small channel. I showed them that it was working. It's like, what the fuck? They're all tripping out. And the lady there, she went to the fucking casino and started won a bunch of money. Even though I told her not to, I'm like, you don't use it for person. She came back and told us about that, and like she started having like a series of terrible events happening in her life. Yeah. Even though I told them you don't be using that for personal gain, but some people that's the first thing that goes
Well,
in their mind when they get some sort of advantage like that is to use it for personal gain, and it never ends well. Yeah.
what
What
did she
seems to
use for
be
personal gain? Like, how did she get these numbers or whatever?
Oh, it's this thing I show people. I showed Axis it before, where you can kind of like project a number on the dice. Like, there's no like probability 1 in 6. You're kind of controlling it or manipulating or knowing it, or I don't know, just chicken or the egg. And then people's inclinations like I'm going to use it for self gain, even though they get warned not to. I don't think it was worth a bit of money you won off that. But it's fine.
And
right?
I just
Go
want to
ahead.
say, Axis, before you close out, if you ever have time, watch the movie Nine. And I like that movie because I think that's how the creators created, us in a way. But the movie Nine
I will
is this.
absolutely watch that, Charles.
All right.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you have a great time with your broadcast today, Charles. I do apologize for the disruption, but I feel that if you're going to host a channel, you should at least exercise some discipline and control over it. Some people aren't ready, as we understand, for information and knowledge that we have, and there are disruptors, and their intent is to disrupt flow of information, and I tend to step in and I try to alleviate that with uh, basically social media weaponry. You know, I work with frequencies, and the human body is very receptive to frequencies, and they should keep that in mind, especially when they're complaining. But I do enjoy your channel, Charles, and I did put your channel in the comment section and in the chat. So
Thank you.
it's been great having you, and Charles, you're always an endeavor, man. You never know what you're going to get, but it is an awesome adventure, and I hope to see that your channel grows. And you're welcome here as a guest anytime.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Axis. Thanks for having me up.
Absolutely, Charles. Absolutely, wonderful having you.
All right, everybody, take it easy. Axis, have a
Peace
good
to the chat.
morning, bro.
All right,
Yeah.
Axis. Have a good day.
You too, brother.
Later, man.
Any closing words, Cage? I know that you endeavor on kind of a by proxy state that I endeavor on, and we seem to cross paths quite a bit and have information that seems to be relevant to each other. And I really appreciate your input, your insight, your wisdom, and what you have to offer. Closing statements.
Not much. Until next time, bro. Have a great day, everybody.
Absolutely. I want to thank London for a wonderful appearance. Cage Reality, awesome. If you're into mystery school teachings and esoteric knowledge, that is the place to go. Charles is a channel that's been around for a while, and he caters to a more, I guess, expanded type of information and people and exchange. He has no bias against anyone that appears on his channel. Now, I very much appreciate that. I think that everyone has something to offer as far as information, wisdom, and knowledge. And I hope that everyone that sees this gets something from it or finds a forward path to themselves. To the chat, thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate it. Definitely any response, any feedback is always appreciated. And I hope that your endeavors definitely come out prosperous for you. All love, and thank you all for tuning in, and Axis is out.